have a state of stability, even amidst the change process that we notice is inevitable.
That will work for us.
How many minutes is that? Candidates at the parliamentary level, C5 level, C3 level. We've been going through this campaign, both at the national and the local levels. Met quite a number of impediments, a number of challenges. One, the number of days. 60 days has been a challenge, covering 146 districts. There's also been a challenge of resources to finance candidates through the electoral process, all that it requires. Listed organization work, and worse still, operating in a very restricted environment. One, because of the unfortunate occurrence of COVID-19, and the regime taking advantage of that to manipulate the process. The security services have been heading about the number of areas, determining where a candidate should go, where they should not go, which is not within their mandate. Good. The Electoral Commission at this point in time has not been bold as it is required to be. A number of times they have put out guidelines which, if they were bold enough, they wanted to run a free, fair, and transparent electoral process. The situation, I believe, would have been different. Even as we go to the poll, 3 days' time, I still do not expect the boldness that is required in the electoral process for us to have a free, fair, and transparent election. We are not going to give up. At least we aren't going to give up in the Alliance for National Transformation, and continuing to encourage them, continuing to appeal to them. Because in my own belief, the Electoral Commission, with the laws that give them the authority to do what is necessary to be done for us to have a free, fair, and transparent electoral process. If they stand firm, they're the ones standing between stability and chaos. So they need to understand that they are carrying a heavy burden, recognize the pressures under which they operate. Also, we need them to understand the burden of ensuring that the country go through a free, fair, and transparent process, because that gives us the opportunity to have change, but also maintain stability. It is absolutely necessary that they do what is right, that they do it boldly and firmly, regardless of the pressures that they find themselves under. We'll keep encouraging them, because I have no doubt that the country would be behind them if they go ahead and do what is right, firmly, and boldly. The alternative is to buckle under pressure and continue doing what would be seen to be unfair, and that could easily have its own costs. We pray that they be bold and firm, and we also hope that we can experience change, but at the same time maintain stability. We've gone through these kinds of situations before. We have seen regimes like in 1980 that thought that because they had control over the state security apparatus, that they could literally do whatever they wanted to do. and do it with impunity. History has taught us lessons that people who believe that you can do what is wrong, that you can trample over people just because you've got control over the state security apparatus, and that you can also use state resources to rent support, to manipulate a population. That yes, that can happen, that can even take quite a bit of time, and that may even tempt people to think that because they have done that and gone away with it for a long time, they may easily get deceived. That kind of situation has no end. It always has an end. The unfortunate thing is that most times it has an ugly end for those who are innocent but who are sucked into these situations, more so the country itself. Those who think they can do things with impunity need to learn lessons. Our history and the history of African countries that have gone through the processes like we are going through is littered with many examples of people who thought they could do whatever they wanted to do with impunity. Those who read history right and learn lessons from it wouldn't repeat the mistakes the current regime is carrying out. So we ask those who are in power, it's not too late. You can pull back and do what is right. Being out of power is not the end of the world. We have been out of power, some of us were in there, we are out, we are alive, and we are okay. So they shouldn't hang on to power at any cost. They should ask themselves, why on earth would you push a country over the edge just because you want to hang on to power? At least that's for the individual, in this particular case, Gen 7, who is an incumbent. But one person cannot hang on to power alone. Even those who participate, the question would be, why on earth would you want to do that? Why on earth would you want to have one person hang on to power and in the process you tip over a country? Why don't you ask yourselves that even when the incumbent gets out of power, more so if there are people who are responsible and they're able to manage power responsibly, and the country grows, the economy grows, there is political stability, why would you think that we will not be able to prosper in situations of that nature, that we'll be able to do business, whatever else you want to do? Why would you be so narrow in your thinking that if you tip over the country, that it will cost others, not yourselves? I've seen those who have acted with impunity in the past. Yes, country has paid a price. Also, quite a number of those people who acted in such reckless ways have also paid a price. So there is danger all around. The most logical thing and sane thing to do, the most responsible action that should be taken by those who are political, those who are in the military, in the police, in the intelligence services, to do what is right. And it will be the best for all of us and for the country.
Before you go, talk about what the country is going to do and how the Electoral Commission should be right in what they're doing. But as the Alliance for National Transformation, what have you people done in order to protect your vote all over the country? We've seen National Unity Platform fielding and introducing the U-Vote app that is going to monitor their electoral process. As you, the Alliance for National Transformation, what have you done to make sure that you protect your votes come 2021, 3 days from now?
We are working with our coordinators, we are working with our candidates to put in place the mechanisms for vote protection. The human factor is a very critical factor. We are working on that. The apps are important, yes, and we'll be having also mechanisms in which or through which the human elements or the individuals, the agents at the polling stations will be able to feed into. I can't go into details, but we are doing everything humanly possible, singularly, but also working with other like-minded change agents to ensure that we protect our vote.
And then lastly, General Mugisha Muntu, what is the way forward in case come 16th and you've not been declared, or they say they have rigged the election as they have always done? What is the way forward for the Alliance for National Transformation?
I can't speculate at this point in time, because our judgment is going to be based on how the electoral process itself is conducted. That's why we are appealing to the Electoral Commission, because if they are bold and firm, they can still pull off what can qualify as a free, fair, and transparent election. But if they buckle under pressure, that will be a totally different situation. So we will give them the benefit of doubt, much as up this point in time, they have not yet exercised the boldness and firmness that we have always required of them or expected of them. But 3 days, who knows? If they turn out and determine that whatever errors have been made in the last few days, like sending materials and ballot papers without serial numbers being recorded and disseminated to all actors, if they're able to rectify that, and they are firm and bold, that would help the country. So I don't want to make judgment. To make judgment depending on how the process is conducted. The legacy as individuals, they back under pressure and do reckless things. And like all of us human beings, whatever you plant, that's what you reap.
Thank you so much, General. Lastly, you can send your last remarks to Ugandans. What do you tell them 3 days to the polls? What do they need to expect? What do they need to know from you and the Alliance for National Transformation?
The most responsible thing to do for every person who is registered is to go and vote. 2, we should do everything humanly possible to ensure that the process remains peaceful. It takes 2 to tango, though. Those who manage the state security apparatus should also ensure that they do not do reckless things. Let's all be responsible. Those on the side of government and those who are on the side of change. And then the rest will monitor the situation as it unfolds.
Then for me, I'm wondering what is on your to-do list for today and tomorrow as a way of wrapping up the campaigns?
We're engaged in organizational work, broadly speaking.
Bit of detail, I didn't understand that.
Well, broadly speaking, we must ensure that the exercise of our coordinators and our candidates getting agents, doing the final things, processes, fielded candidates at the parliamentary level, the C5 level, the C3 level. We've been going through this campaign, both at the national and the local levels. Met quite a number of impediments, a number of challenges. One, the number of days. 60 days has been a challenge, covering 146 districts. There's also been a challenge of resources to finance candidates through the electoral process, ensuring that they receive electoral materials and ensuring that they are the correct materials. All that is part of the last-minute organization work. In the last 2, 3, 4 days, that's no matter what happens. That's what we're engaged in.
Concluded your campaigns now?
Come again?
Does that mean you've concluded campaigning?
We still have today and tomorrow. Most of the work we'll be doing will be through media, radio, TVs. But the physical movement right now, as we speak, is going to be it's going to be quite limited because there are also organization work to be done. It's very difficult to be in the field and also be at the headquarters at the same time. So we prefer now to be here at headquarters. so we can do the last stretch, concentrating more on the organizational work than the mobilization work that we've been doing in the field.
The Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
The world is at a critical moment of providing innovative alternatives as a means to create change.
As such, we have created a not-for-profit alternative mobile digital platform as a way to promote space for freedom of speech and expression to the unheard voices.
We know you believe in the cause and you can further it more by contributing to its sustainability in forms of internet data, fuel, and any other support you deem relevant.
Please support us with your contribution to Equity Bank account number 103-5201-607252 under the name Alternative Digital, or our mobile money numbers 0702 900076 or 0783 047785. Alternative Digital, real issues, real talk.
Fellow Ugandans, during this period when the country is living amid this COVID-19 pandemic, we preach peace among family members and community, end gender-based violence. Stay safe from COVID-19 during election campaigns by following the Ministry of Health guidelines. This message is brought to you by Uganda Women Parliamentary Association, UOPA, and UN Women with funding from EU Spotlight Initiative.
Where there is a lot of violence, for example, police brutality. A lot of you are being beaten up, the voters, the people from the opposing side. So election is just that period where we get free money.
An election is a process through which people choose to vote a person or a group of people to hold an office of leadership.
Did you know that you have the power to determine on who leads you?
Did you know that your vote has the power to change your society and the country at large?
Dear citizens, please vote wisely. Don't vote money, but vote issues.
Dear parents, I can't make any decision.
Your choice determines my future.
Fellow students, exercise your right. Go and vote.
Abafumbira mwese muzaze tugende tutera karuru.
Abanyayuganda mwena mugende mutera karuru.
Bashange face face yihule kuche hodole.
Abantu nyana mujje tugende tukome.
Genda oronde.
Your vote.
My vote.
Our vote is our present and our future.